pop-up with great skill from him to wing the Mo Salah! Raheem Sterling! What a finish! What pure class from the Englishman!
Premier Talk, the English Premier League podcast for the fans.
Hello and welcome back to the Premier Talk podcast, Season 3, Episode 12. I'm one of your two hosts, as always, Andrew Mello. Alongside with me is Danny B, Danny Barbudo. He just came back from the Spider-Man No Way Home premiere. This guy's amped, wouldn't stop talking about it. We're just going to spoil the whole movie for anyone listening right now.
Relax. I will not do that. I will not do that. It was a good movie. Go watch it. Everybody should be at the theaters in a couple days because it's nuts. I can't lie.
Okay, if you had to compare Spider-Man to any Premier League player, who would it be?
Ooh, right now?
Yeah.
I gotta go with Mohamed Salah. That's how nuts it was.
Mohamed Salah? Yeah.
It was nuts. And he's in good form right now, so you gotta give it to him.
All right, sounds good. Daniel, this is your last episode before Christmas break. You're very busy next week. You're delivering presents.
I'm hoping to make it.
You're delivering presents. You're like Santa Claus. You're busy delivering presents. But anyways, we'll have an episode next week, whether it's the Thursday or the Wednesday. I'm not sure yet because Friday is Christmas Eve, so it's gonna be super busy. But we're definitely gonna have an episode next week, whether it's myself and Daniel or myself in a guest appearance. There'll definitely be someone else there. I don't want to just talk by myself for 40 minutes because I'm just gonna talk about Portugal and the shitty manager they have in Fernando Santos. So
nobody's going to hear listen.
Nonetheless, there will be an episode next week, so no worries. There'll be one more before the new year. So, yeah, Daniel, we're gonna call this one a Legends Farewell.
Go to Aguero.
Yes, go to Aguero. PL legend, bro. PL legend has to be up there. He's gonna get into the Hall of Fame, the PL Hall of Fame one day soon. Has to be. But Daniel, let's kick it with the starting lineup here.
Starting lineup, we're going to start us off with a match day 16 and match day 17 recap.
Yep. Match day 16, 17 recap. Then we're going to go to the big talking points. So, we're going to dive into Aguero. We're going to dive into a little bit of the Aubameyang situation there. There's some things to talk about, some big storylines in the PL. So we're going to hop into that. But Daniel, kick us off with the match day recaps.
Match day 16 recap. Starting us off Friday, December 10th. We got Brentford versus Watford. It was a madness in this game. Watford was up early. Brentford scored 2 goals, 84th minute and the 96th minute with one of the last kicks of the game. It was a nuts game. Brentford ended up coming on top 2-1 in this one. And it was great for their standings. It really was. Then next we got Saturday, December 11th. We got Manchester City versus Wolves. I got to talk to
what do you think about the 2 yellows? What do you think about that, man?
I didn't like it. I did not like it at all.
I don't like it either.
I understand why it was given because it was yellow for the foul and then it was yellow for blocking the ball.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know. I mean, bro, stuff like that ruins the game. And this was a great game.
I agree.
It's City. They're definitely gonna be favored over Wolves in terms of they're always, the big teams are always favored in terms of decision making by the referees. But man, to give him a second yellow for standing from the ball, maybe the referee could have handled this a little bit better. Maybe it could have been just a really stern warning. Next little thing you do is you're out after that. I just thought it was silly. I thought it was too much. Jimenez wasn't adhering to the rules, but at the same time, it happens all the time in soccer. And players are rarely given yellows for stepping in front of the ball. It's commonality in football to stop the play. So I don't know. I thought it was a little bit extra from the referee and too quick on the trigger to give him that second yellow. Sorry to interrupt.
It is though. If you look at rules though, it's proper. Like it is. You should be getting a yellow for it. But yeah, I agree with you. It's a little bit harsh for me. And the goal scored from City. This was a 1-0 win from City. It was a pen from Sterling. It was his 100th goal in the Premier League, which is nuts because now he sits with legends of the game because not many have scored 100 in this league.
Did you see his new kicks? Did you see the new kicks he dropped with New Balance, the green ones?
No.
Oh, I did a collab with New Balance to pay homage to his Jamaican roots because he's from Jamaica as well. I thought they were pretty nice. Don't sleep on New Balance. They have some nice kicks. They're pretty nice. They got a green, a little lime green, a little yellow in there. Pretty fire.
Fire kits from the 100th goal from Sterling. Moving on, Chelsea leads. Chelsea coming on top of this one after 2 penalties from Jorginho. There was also one from Leeds, which I believe was taken by Rafinha. 3 penalties in this game, 1 penalty in the last game. We're going to do a penalty tally. So far, we got 4 penalties in 3 games in match day 16.
Spare pens.
Too many penalties, in my opinion. Anyways, Chelsea took this one 3-2. Big 3 points from them because they need to keep up with pace with Liverpool and with Manchester City. Moving on to the next game. Speaking of Liverpool, we got Liverpool versus Aston Villa. It was Gerrard's return to Anfield, and it was cut short by a Salah penalty. There we go. Got another penalty coming in. Liverpool won this one 1-0. Moving on to the next game, we got Norwich versus Manchester United. Manchester United won this one 1-0 as well. And guess who? Ronaldo penalty. So what are we at? 6 penalties in 4 games.
Yep.
And each penalty was a deciding goal. Every single one. For me, it's a little bit like I believe there was a status of most penalties there's been in one single day in the Premier League since like the early 60s, which is ridiculous. Because if you look at like literally 4 games and there were 6 penalties, is a little bit overboard for me, to be completely honest with you. I know there were penalties. I get it. It's just that looking at top table teams win games like this is not something you want to see from one of the best leagues in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you want to watch games from great goal scoring, great assists. You don't want to see just penalties winning games. Like, that's not what you want to see when you're watching this league. Anyways, lots of penalties. Moving on to the next the next day after, Sunday, December 12th, we got Brighton versus Tottenham. This game was canceled because of COVID. We're in our talking points. We're going to talk about COVID because it's playing a massive role right now in England, especially in the Premier League. These games getting canceled left, right, and center. And this is one of the games that was canceled as a result. Then we got Burnley versus West Ham. West Ham have been good as of late. They were sitting in 4th at this point, and they tied Burnley 0-0. A massive drop point to them, especially because Burnley's really not doing too well right now, like at all. They're sitting in relegation. So it's not a team that you would have expected West Ham to drop points against, but they did. And therefore, we'll see very soon, it caused West Ham to drop into 5th. Moving on, Leicester versus Newcastle. Leicester, absolute domination in this one. They won 4-0. They dropped out. They got kicked out of Europa League, so I guess they had something to prove, and they did it here against Newcastle. I know, obviously, Newcastle isn't a big team to be proving stuff against, but anyways, still came out with a big win. They've been struggling goal scoring and defending, so to see lots of goals being scored with a clean sheet is great for them. And the last game on match day 16 is Crystal Palace versus Everton. You know what? Everton coming off that 2-1 win to Arsenal, you thought that they would have been better, but they were poor in this. They were poor.
They stink right now, yeah.
They were bad. I did not expect this from this Everton side. They lost 3-1 to Crystal Palace. I mean, good on Crystal Palace because they need to keep moving up the table. They currently sit in 11th, and with that win, they put themselves 1 point above Everton.
Yeah.
That's all of match day 16. Match day 17, same thing. It was a midweek games. I love midweek games. Thing that sucked here, though, is that a lot of games got canceled, unfortunately, due to COVID. The first game was supposed to be Brentford versus Manchester United. That game got canceled because of COVID. There was a big outbreak in Manchester United. Then we got Norwich versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa winning this one. Gerrard picking up another 3 points. He's been great. The only 2 teams he's lost to have been Liverpool and Chelsea, I think. Was it Chelsea? I think it was the top. I don't know if it was Liverpool and City or Liverpool and Chelsea. Those are the only 2 teams he's lost to. And he's picked up points in every other game he's played. And this was, again, just a win that they needed. Norwich, again, very poor, sitting in 19th. Awful. But yeah, this was a game they needed to win, and they went out there and they did it. Then we got absolute domination. Manchester City versus Leeds.
They put up a touchdown.
7-0.
They put up a touchdown.
Yeah.
Daniel, just before you get into this one, I don't know. Do you think it's his time, Bielsa's time to be out of there? Like, do you think the manager deserves more time? Because he did bring them up from the second flight of football. He had a good season last year, a good debut season back in the Prem after numerous years of the club being out. It's a massive club historically. They got a great following. But Daniel, to lose 7-0, I know it's Manchester City, Daniel, and Manchester City have been in fine form, the best in the league, up there with Liverpool. But do you think it's time they switch things up, or I don't know, is it a matter of bringing in some more personnel? Because I feel like they have been a little bit inactive in terms of the transfers they brought in, because they only were able to bring in Jack Harrison, I believe, the former Manchester City man. Is his last name Harrison? I forget. The left mid. That's the only guy they signed.
They signed Dan James too from.
Dan James, sure, yeah,
Mhm.
but that was terrible. The price tag on that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was pretty
It
brutal. It
was
was like
pretty bad.
25
So
mil.
yeah, it was bad. So what I'm asking you, is it a matter of bringing the right personnel in terms of players, or is it
Mhm.
the manager?
I want to say it's a little bit of both. I think Bielsa is gonna get fired soon. I don't think he has a lot of time left there because of how poor they've been. I know, like, it's always tough for teams to go and fire managers, especially that have done so much for the club.
Hmm.
Like you see it across sports leagues, like everywhere. I think his time is almost up. I think though that the players have been poor and they don't want to play for him anymore. So I think just new face in that locker room would change the fundamentals of this team entirely. Because I think this team is too good for them to be currently sitting, I believe, in like 17th. I don't think they're a team that deserves to be 16th. Sorry. I don't think they're a team that deserves to be that low. And something just not clicking in that locker room. So I think a change of personnel would be great. Anyways, Manchester City was playing with no striker. And they still
Yeah,
ended up winning this one
yeah
7-0.
they don't have it, Daniel, but they don't have a striker.
They don't have it enough. But I
They
think
don't
they have
have
Jesus, which
they,
is
they
the
have
only one that I would.
Jesus, but at the same time, he Guardiola loves the false nine. He
Mhm.
loves it. Barcelona, that's all he played.
Yeah.
You know, he had a striker in Aguero, but Aguero really did drop into those pockets a lot, a lot when they had Aguero. But now without a true striker, they have, like we said, they have Gabriel Jesus, but they really like Bernardo there. And even last season, we saw KDB playing the false nine a lot
Mhm.
in the Champions League run that they had.
I
So,
love that.
I think KDB was good, but I think Bernardo's even better. I think
Mhm.
Bernardo fits that position better because that way you have KDB dropping in to the middle of the park. He's able to, stretch long because he's got a great passing ability, as we all know.
Mhm.
Arguably, I think he's up. I think it's 1 and 2 between him and Tony Cruz in terms of being able to pick those passes and
Mhm.
stretch the play. So that's really been beneficial to drop him back and put Bernardo there and give him that freedom, that free roaming ability as a false nine. So I think it's worked out really well in that regard. So I think they're doing absolutely fine without a striker. I
Mhm.
think they're doing perfectly fine because the formation suits them and the play style suits them to not have a striker.
The only time I wish they didn't have a striker, which I know gets pointed out a lot when they're struggling to score goals. Obviously, in this one they weren't. But there's times where it's like, for instance, it's known that wingers don't have the same shooting capability as a striker does because a striker is your number 9. He's out there to score goals. If you look at the best number 9s in the world, you
Yeah,
got
I guess.
Suarez, you got Lewandowski, you got the likes of Ronaldo. Maybe not Messi is in that machine, but he's not a number 9. But if you look at those guys, just like they're always in the right places. They finish those shots that you don't expect everyone to finish. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
I
Like
don't
there's
think that
just,
matters here, though, Daniel. I don't think that
but
matters
there's instances
because
where
the
they need a
talent.
striker.
But Daniel, they have so much talent, man. They have so many guys that could step up to the plate. They don't need a guy that's consistently scoring goals. If the goals are spread out throughout the whole team, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they're still winning games.
Mhm.
And you have so many guys you can rotate in and out on the wings that when one guy's not performing well, you give another guy a chance. That would be more than ready. When Sterling's not playing, you got Jack there. When Mars isn't playing, you got Torres there. There's
Mhm.
so many guys you can interchange on any given day. Their squad depth is absolutely fantastic. And when you have a guy like Bernardo Silva playing the striker, you can always drop balls back to KDB, Foden, guys like that have a great shooting ability outside and
Mhm.
at the top of the box. So I'm not concerned at all. I'm not concerned at all. And I think that the best thing that they did was not to secure Harry
Harry
Kane as a
Kane.
transfer. Yeah, because I don't know, maybe he would be different in the system, but I think that they don't need him. They do not need him. They don't need to go spend all that money to bring in a guy like Harry Kane. They have the talent already at their squad, and that suits their way of playing.
Mhm. I get what you're coming from. I do. I feel like a striker is such a vital. I don't know. That's just because it's the position I played. It's the
The game's changing,
positions.
Daniel. The game's changing.
It's
The
the
game's
players
really
that
changing.
I fell in love with growing up. If you look
Yeah.
at all the goal scorers, it's the reason why I played as a striker my entire life. It's the reason why my favorite players in the world are all attackers. But I don't know.
It's just
I
about
do understand that the game is changing, but I
yeah.
love the how much presence that a number 9 can bring.
Of course, I agree with that. And sometimes you do need a guy like that when the team's unbalanced. when there's an imbalance in the team. Man City's just too balanced, man. They have great players all through 1 through 11, 1 through even 18 guys on the squad. But teams like Manchester United do need a good guy that can score and finish goals, because around him you're gonna have inconsistent young players like Sancho, like Rashford, like Greenwood that are not gonna get on the score sheet every game. And there's imbalances in terms of the positions around the park, So when you got a team like City, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they're so well rounded. But anyways, let's go into the next thing because we've been dragging this on for a little bit too.
We're gonna move on. Wednesday, December 15th, we got Brighton versus Wolves. Wolves actually picked up the 3 points here, which Brighton, I don't know, again, Brighton. I know we discussed this weekend.
Brighton's been good, but they've been tapering off. They've been tapering off for sure. They had a fantastic start with Graham Potter, but the goal droughts are starting to really, really challenge them, and they're trying to. I thought Trossard would be producing more, but he's also fell off a bit just with the rest of his teammates. So.
Then next on the match day 17 was Burnley versus Watford. This game also got canceled due to COVID.
Yep.
The third game on Wednesday was Crystal Palace versus Southampton. Again, a great back and forth game.
Wasn't there beef between Zaha? He got a red card or something? I thought I saw that.
No, Zaha didn't get a red.
I don't know if Zaha got a red for. Maybe that was an old video. I didn't get to watch this one, but I thought I saw.
It was Zaha. Back and forth. It was Crystal Palace was up, then Southampton scored back to back, and then Crystal Palace came back, ended up tying the game, and they ended up sharing the points. Then we got Arsenal versus West Ham. Arsenal played good in this one. I can't lie to you. They did. They look like a team that's slowly getting better. I know we discussed what was it last week about how they always go through the big cycle of playing good. They're a Champions League team, then playing poorly. Then Arteta's needs to be sacked again. And it looks like they're in the point of the cycle that they're going to start playing well again. So they ended up beating West Ham in this one, and that propelled them into a top 4 team, or a top 4 on the table anyways. And they currently sit 4th, 8 points behind Chelsea. I don't think anybody's going to catch those top 3 teams this year. I'll just point that out.
No, there's 2 races going on right now. It's battle for the PL title between City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, and rightfully so. They're the 3 best teams this year, the most depth. They got great character in each of one of those teams, and great managers leading them, great managerial minds behind the 3. The rest is just fighting for 4th place. You got the likes of Arsenal, that's close. Man United, that's very close. Tottenham still in the race there. Wolves have been really surprising of late, and they've been doing really well. I think Bruno Lage is a great coach, and they got some great players there. But in order to take that step, I don't think they're going to get into 4th place this year. They don't have the talent there.
You got West Ham.
You got West Ham too as well. Yeah, West Ham have been top this year. They've lost some crucial points against rivals. Teams rivaling for that position, so they've taken some big blows over the last couple of weeks. But I really like to see these races pan out, and it's very exciting to see teams fight for these places, not only for the title race, but for 4th place and for 5th place in the league. So very exciting.
I agree. And then we're gonna move on to Thursday, December 16th. You got Leicester versus Tottenham. This game also got canceled because of COVID. Tottenham hasn't played a game in 2 weeks, because they've been riddled with it. They have, I think, they were at 13 last week. I think they got a couple more over the last couple of days. It's not looking good inside Tottenham, and as a result, the games are getting canceled. If you look at the table, even they've only played 14 games when every other team has played at least 16, if not 17. So they need to start picking up their games because of all the games that are getting canceled by COVID. But first off, obviously, COVID is such a big thing that you wouldn't want them to start playing games too early, because then there's a risk of them transmitting it to other teams and other clubs, and that would just turn this whole thing into a disaster. Then we got Chelsea versus Everton. Chelsea dominated this game, just absolutely dominated this game, and Everton was like on the weekend they lost to Crystal Palace, and they come out here and they pick up a point against Chelsea, and it's a massive blow to Chelsea in the title race. It is because City won, Liverpool won. They need to keep up pace with those 2 teams. And since they ended up drawing to Everton, they sit in 3rd place, and now they're 3 points behind Liverpool and 4 points behind City. So they're more than a game.
Daniel, this one really sucked, man. This one sucked because Everton have been crappy. And, it was 80% possession. It was unreal. Yep. It was 80-20. And it was 22 shots for Chelsea, shots to less than 5 for Everton, I believe it was. It reminded me almost of the the Champions League fixture between Celtic and Barcelona about 6-7 years back, and it was like almost the same thing in terms of possession. Barcelona were all over them, but Celtic, it was one of the most,
Week by.
one of the most. It was the biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets in group stage in the Champions League. And that just reminded me of this game because it was so disproportionate, the possession, the goal scoring opportunities, the likelihood to win of one team versus the other. And for Everton to squeak by with 1 point, you're celebrating because it's a huge result for Everton. It's a very, 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 very poor result for Chelsea. And Chelsea were missing some guys due to COVID, but nonetheless, you should still be beating Everton with the depth that you have. So just a terrible result overall. And this one was huge because it just gives a little more separation to Liverpool, a little more separation to Man City. And it's just a huge blow in the title race for the Blues. So tough stuff.
The last game on match day 17 was Liverpool versus Newcastle. You know what? Newcastle came out fighting. They actually scored first, like 7 minutes in. And a lot of people were like, can we see probably one of the biggest upsets of the year? And Liverpool proved that that wasn't going to happen. And they scored 3 goals that Newcastle never even, like they weren't even close to winning this game. And that caused Liverpool to win the game 3-1, putting them up 1 point back of Manchester City. A mad title race is going to be for the whole rest of the year. I think they're going to go back and forth for the rest of the year. I don't think there's going to be one team that's going to pull away. It's going to be a nuts title race.
It's too close to call right now. It's too close to call between the two teams. Maybe Chelsea over time will catch up a little bit more and make it even more interesting. But right now, it looks like City and Liverpool are going to start to run away with it.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Okay, we're going to move on. Sorry for long discussion of all the match days. There was a lot of games that were going on. I want to move on to one. We're going to move on to the talking points. There's a lot of big talking points. The first one I want to talk about is Aubameyang being stripped of his captaincy.
Good. Well done. What
do you think about this? I was going to ask you.
It's one of the first good things Arsenal has done all season. And I'll tell you why. A captain has character. A captain leads not only on the pitch but off the pitch, right? There's a great importance to selecting the best captain. And it's not always about selecting your striker, selecting your best player. The best strikers or the best captains rather, they come from any position, right? And they just lead by example. And I think that I don't know what it's going on with Aubameyang in terms of issues with the club. I don't know if it's personal matters. I don't want to speculate. It's never fair to really criticize someone when you don't know what's truly going on. But in terms of his performance, what we're able to see on the pitch, he's been poor. In my opinion,
poor is an understatement.
Yeah, poor is an understatement. He's botched some sitters in front of the net. One notably against Manchester United very recently. Manchester United was able to squeak by in that one and get the result because he missed a golden opportunity. Ever since he signed that contract, he hasn't been the same, that big money contract. If you guys remember, a lot of people remember before signing for Arsenal, he was on Dortmund. He sat out for some time because he had problems with the club. So this isn't the first time. And if it's bad behavior and being disrespectful to his teammates and to coaching staff and whatnot, 100% it deserves to be taken away. 100%. You don't need things off the field and conflicts off the field to disrupt your play, because Arsenal, they've been picking it up. They've been picking it up and they find themselves in 4th place. We like to banter them, but they are sitting in 4th place ahead of Manchester United, ahead of West Ham after beating West Ham. So give the reins over to some of these young guys. Let Emil Smith Rowe, get the spotlight. Let Saka get the spotlight. Let Martin Odegaard to help lead the lines. And keep rolling with Lacazette, because Lacazette has been decent. He's been decent. He's been filling in and doing his job. So give credit where it's due. And for Aubameyang, I think it was a good decision, because I don't know what's going on with him personally. Who knows? But on the field, he's been very, very poor. Not the same Aubameyang we knew from all the goal scoring seasons. Yeah.
I like Lacazette. I don't think he's a good captain, but I think they should be rolling with Lacazette more than they should be Aubameyang. just simply because like I don't think Lacazette's he hasn't been great in front of net either. Let's be honest
No,
with ourselves. He hasn't been great.
but he works hard. He
And
works hard. He puts in.
that's the thing.
Yeah, he
That
works
is
hard.
that right there. The energy that he brings to this
Yeah.
team, especially because he comes on as a sub a lot, the energy he brings, and you can see when he comes on, he's passionate about playing and he wants to be out there helping his team. I think that's great. I don't know if he's good enough to take over the captaincy of this team, just simply because I don't know if like does he inherit the traits of a captain? Probably not. I would like to see them give it to probably a man like Odegaard, maybe even Ramsdale. I don't. I think Ramsdale's maybe too soon for him to just take
Yeah.
captaincy of a club. Um, even Odegaard though, it's been a year. Who else could you give to this? Like give captaincy to? You got Saka, who's been there for what 2 years.
These are
You got
such young guys. The only thing I can think is Shaka, but Shaka doesn't find himself inside the lineup every week.
he was also stripped of it 2 years ago.
Yeah, so this is the problem. They don't have a true captain and leader on the field. They need a leader
Mhm.
on the field, and maybe that'll come with age when Emil Smith Rowe gets a little bit older. Guys like that. But right now they don't have a true captain. Maybe give it to Gabriel in the back. He plays consistently, game in, game out. He's got a little bit of age.
Mhm.
He's been at the club for a year now. That would be too bad. Um, but I think in Arsenal, if you're Arsenal, you need to start looking for a potential replacement of a striker because
Mhm.
they don't like Nketiah. They don't like playing him week in, week out, or else they've been playing him, especially now because he's, the opportunity's there because of the
Mhm.
vacancy of Aubameyang. But they need to go get someone, and I think that guy is the Fiorentina striker. What's his name? Serbian. Oh my gosh,
Vlahovic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vlahovic. He's been putting in a decent season, and he's been linked to the club already, from what I read. So maybe that is a possible replacement, but that's going to come with a big price tag, and we know
I think.
big price
Yeah.
tag players haven't panned out with Arsenal in recent years because Nicolas
Mhm.
Pepe finds himself sitting on the bench. So
Yeah.
week in, week out. So I don't know. I don't know. But
I think another man that they can bring in a striker is Schick. That
yeah,
guy's
Patrick Schick
been
wouldn't be bad.
nuts.
Yeah, he's been doing well after the Euros. That's a
He
possible option. Yeah.
he's on pace right now. I was reading a stat today that he's on pace to become there's only one player that has scored in 10 consecutive games, and I don't remember who it was. Messi's done 9. There's a bunch of players that have done 9. Schick's on 8 right now. So if he needs 2 more games where he scores a goal to go and tie that record, and he has the possibility of beating it. And he's been great since the Euros. He has been. I think that Euros was a massive motivator for him.
It was a stage for him to finally show himself, because
Mm-hmm.
he's been loaned out here and there from his parent club. So he finally got the opportunity to shine, and he really did put in a great shift with the Czech Republic. So
Mm-hmm. One final thing I want to discuss just quickly is the list of captains since 2007 for Arsenal. It's been bad. It's been really bad. You look at there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They've had 9 captains since 2007,
wow.
which isn't great. When you look at that, that's just poor to begin with. And we'll just go through them one by one. William Gallas, he left when he was captain, he left Arsenal to join Tottenham. Cesc Fabregas, when he was captain, he left Arsenal to join Barcelona.
Yeah.
Robin van Persie, when he was captain, he left Arsenal to join Manchester United. Thomas Vermaelen, when he was captain, he left Arsenal to join Barcelona. Mikel Arteta, he was captain of Arsenal and he became manager, which I don't know how that one works, but it did. Per Mertesacker, or he became manager of City, then he came back to Arsenal. So he just left to become a manager. Per Mertesacker, he left to become the academy manager at Arsenal. Koscielny, we all know how that turned out. He went on strike for a while and then he left to, I believe, who did he leave to? It was
Bordeaux.
Bordeaux. Yes, I was trying to think of the name. Bordeaux. He went on strike, then he left as Arsenal's manager. Granit Xhaka, he was the captain before Aubameyang, and he was stripped of captaincy. Yeah. And then they gave it to Aubameyang, and he was also stripped of captaincy. So
that bad selection, man. Bad selection
has been poor.
Yeah, bad. It's bad selection. Man, a captain's important. It just goes to show you how important a captain is. I'm not saying bad captain is the reason why they've been poor over the last couple of years, but man, a captain, is your commander on the field. You need to have someone that leads by example, leads through their words, leads by good body language. That makes a big difference. Guys see that. Guys notice that. So picking a captain and the right captain for your team and your team dynamic is paramount, man. It's big.
It is. So that was the first talking point. Massive talking point there. We move on to the next one.
Aguero! Man, this is bittersweet. This is so bittersweet because we're reflecting on the guy's fantastic career, but at the same time, he's retiring early because of some heart difficulties. So there's a heart scare, about a month now with Barcelona, and it's always tough to see. I could only imagine what a player goes through. So your whole life is footy, and then it's cut short. Before you weren't ready to go yet. He clearly wasn't ready. He still had games in him. So it was tough to see for sure. But I just want to reflect on some of his statistics here. In 390 appearances, nearly 400 appearances with Manchester City, he scored a whopping 260 goals and also bagging 73 assists. That puts him at 0.63 goals per game for City, which is
0.67.
0.67, pardon me, 0.67. So nearly 0.7 goals per game, which is just a bit under a goal per game. That's a crazy statistic there. And then for his country, 101 appearances, 41 goals and 19 assists. I think that's pretty impressive because he's nearly scored in half his games, considering he's playing with Messi. Like Argentina has a plethora of attacking players, so it's hard to find yourself in that lineup. So to do that with his national team is quite impressive. To get that many goals, because it's hard to share the field with all these other strikers. Cardi, Dybala, Messi. So a lot of guys could score up there. Higuain. So that's a pretty impressive stat. In terms of accolades, 5-time PL champ with City.
That's the most impressive stat right there.
Yeah. 7-time player of the month. And he got 1 golden boot, 2014 to 2015. Aguero, he's broken the goal barrier of 20 goals in 6 of his 10 seasons at City, which is crazy. Only Alan Shearer has more than him with 7. And then Daniel, we go and talk about players being clutch. Obviously, the most notable goal from Aguero was to secure the PL title over their City rival. When what was arguably the most iconic goal of the modern Premier League era, to secure it in injury time to win a title. So it's just crazy to think about the iconic trademark call of Aguero, being screamed. We go on to talk about clutch players, man. Who is more clutch than Sergio Aguero? What PL player is more clutch than Aguero? No one. This guy, from the 76th minute on, he has 40 goals out of all the goals he scored in the PL. That's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
76 minute and on. That's just a ridiculous statistic there. It goes to show you how clutch he is late in the game, how he's able to still have an impact late in the game. It's just unreal, Daniel. I want to ask you now, after I've spewed out some stats about Aguero, where does he lie amongst the best players to ever do it and lace up the boots in the PL?
He's up there. Definitely. Probably top 3.
Yeah.
I would say top 3. He easily fits up there.
Yeah.
He's one of the reasons why people became Manchester City fans.
Yeah.
He's the reason why people came and watched this league. He's the sole reason why this league has turned into what it's become. It's just incredible to see what one man has done for the world of soccer, world of football. It's crazy. He's up there with the likes of Alan Shearer as one of the greatest goal scorers of all time in the Premier League. Thierry Henry. Who else is there? There's players like Wayne Rooney's up there. There's
Drogba was players, fantastic.
There's players that you see and you look at right now, and they're icons of the sport, icons of the game.
Bergkamp's another one.
And he easily fits in there.
Yeah.
He's in discussion with all these players, which is just crazy. It's nuts that a man like this has come in, and obviously everyone knows him for. It's probably the most iconic goal in the Premier. I don't even think there's anything that comes close. What comes close to that?
Maybe the Wayne Rooney bicycle kick.
The Wayne Rooney bicycle kick. Okay, it was a derby. It was nuts. This was to win a title in the 95th minute after they were down 1-0 and they scored 2 goals in injury time, along with one of the greatest commentary moments in football history.
Yep.
That moment in itself, although it was against Manchester United, but I'm not going to talk about that one. that moment in itself
You gotta appreciate it, man. Yeah.
It is. It gives you goosebumps every single time you see it. It's nuts. There's not words to describe what this man has done for the game. It's incredible. It is.
Daniel, his statistics speak for themselves, man. 5-10 PL champ. He's one of the most goal-scoring international players ever to do it in the Premier League. I think he is the most goal-scoring international player. He's up there, man. He's up there with Thierry Henry, as one of the best to ever do in the Prem. He's up there with Alan Shearer, the best to do ever in the Prem. But Aguero is the best ever modern day PL player. So there's no debate in that. It just he was so clinical in front of goal. His goal tally speaks for that. He was versatile, man. Very versatile player. Able to drop in between lines. Able to drop short and play with the midfielders. Play with his wingers. Great passing ability as a striker. That's something that a lot of great strikers, from being great to an iconic striker, they lack that passing ability. Because strikers, they do need to get some assists as well beyond scoring. But man, what a player! It's just shocking that he doesn't have more golden boots. I thought he would have more golden boots. He only has one. But 5-time PL champ, man. So not many players have that to their resume.
Nope. No, they do not.
So just a fantastic player. So sad to see him, leave the game early. I didn't think Barcelona was a good move after Messi left. He wanted to go play with Messi, never got to do so. I feel bad for him in that regard. Would have been nice to see him stick around in City, but it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be, and his career cut short. But I hope to see this guy remain in the game, whether he returns to City and helps out Pep in some way as a player develop. I don't know, just some way involved with the game. I'd love to see him stay involved. Beyond dealing with his health, health's important to deal with. But I would love to see him back in the game somehow, maybe as a manager, assistant manager. In that regard, I'd love to see him back. So, thanks for all the memories, man. That was just a fantastic player. And, growing up watching the PL, he was definitely a big part of me growing to love the league and loving the game. So he's an amazing player.
Yep. I completely agree with you. I think he is one of the best to do it. And we appreciate everything he's shown us, the reasons he's given us to come out and watch this league. And it's crazy. It's so sad that he's forced into retirement.
My favorite Argentinian, because I kind of like Messi too much because Ronaldo, but
for me, he's Messi, but it's fine. He's still one of the greatest to do it. He is. And one other quick thing that I want to mention, just because you mentioned it, Guardiola, a man of just class. There's no other way to say it. He went out to, I believe the conference was held in Spain.
It was.
He went out to Barcelona to be there when Aguero announced his retirement. And it shows that he's a man for his players. He knows how much Aguero meant obviously a lot to him. And he knows that the game, the way Aguero's been forced to retire has broken his heart. So he wanted to be there when it was finally announced and said and done. So shout out to Guardiola for doing that. It showed the class that he has. It did.
Daniel, that about wraps it up for this episode. Episode 12 of season 3. Spider-Man's out, but you guys should listen to the Premier Talk podcast instead. Okay.
Maybe do them both, because Spider-Man was great.
Spider-Man was great. Okay, you can go watch Spider-Man and then come listen to our podcast. How about that?
I like that.
Our podcast first. Yeah. Nonetheless, another episode in the books. It was a great one. I'm hoping the PL season stays alive among other sports leagues, because right now COVID's taking a big hit. So I just hope that the PL keeps going, and I'm enjoying it right now because it could be taken away from us yet again. So just enjoy every minute of it, and don't take anything for granted, because you never know right now with sports and with all the craziness going on. So
sporting events are being cut down all over the world, and I think it's especially the way England's going there. They've been hit very hard by the COVID-19 pandemic as a whole. So I think that guys, get your games in now, get to enjoy it right now. as it's here because it could be gone very soon, which is going to be upsetting for the time being.
Yeah. So take a listen to us on all platforms. We're everywhere. Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, everywhere. We're even on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Thanks for listening as always. Thanks for all the support. And we'll be back next week. We're going to detail it on our social media. We're not sure which day yet, whether it's the Wednesday or the Thursday just before Christmas Eve. So stay tuned. But we're going to have an episode for sure next week. So last one before the year's out.
Yep. With Andrew, guys, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening and love you guys as always.
Take care, guys. See you next time.
See you later.